today? Wilma. I don't know why I say Mamie all the time.
We can make some room over here.
I need my chips.
You need your chips? Absolutely you do.
Because of mounds, right? I have a curry with
All right. Where are you going to be posting up at? Right there? Here, I'll give you a couple here. If you need more, let me know. Should be enough. All right. Thomas. Yeah. 2 first names. So nice they named me twice. That's what I like to say. Drew Thomas. Thomas. That's ridiculous. That's on another level there.
Okay, bingo, ready, hey.
Well, it's Scammo, though. You got to say Scammo. All right.
Okay.
Then now you can play.
Okay.
Whoa. That's for winners.
I'm a winner already.
Whoa.
I'm a winner today.
Let's not jump the gun.
Okay. I'm a winner.
I
need some.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and, where are you going to sit? I'll come and pour you some. Here's your game card.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to give you a couple more chips here. That should be enough. If you need more, let me know. Get some chips for you. Oh, that's more than enough. Who else needs some game chips? Over here? Oh, can't forget about you, Gina. Here's your chips. All right. Everyone who's playing, do you have a game mat and chips? All right. Do you want to play now? Do you mind helping people make sure they spot and yeah?
My name is James.
I'm Drew. Nice to meet you,
I'm one of
James.
the instructors.
We are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all the ASC 3, 2 p.m. on Tuesday, Thursday students. We are in day 4 of Digital Inclusion Week. We have the honor to have with us Drew Thomas from Cuhyahoga County Scam Squad. Did I get that right, Scam Squad?
Yep.
Yeah, so we are really pleased to have him join us today. He had the opportunity to do the Scam Summit with our Digital Navigators yesterday, and so I thought it would be a great opportunity for him to actually do the presentation here with us, and he's going to do it just a little bit different today. I'm asking all of you to pay attention. Might be a quiz at the end, maybe a prize at the end, but it should be fun. And with that being said, I'm going to let Drew introduce himself and tell us all about what he does with the county.
All right. I should be good with this mic, right? Can everyone hear me? Well, thanks again for inviting me. I'm very glad to be here. So again, my name is Drew, and I am with the Consumer Affairs Department, and we help run Scam Squad. So some of you might have heard of Scam Squad before. If you watch Channel 19 News, we try to run some pieces there. Scam Squad might be entirely new to you. So we're going to play Scammo, which is a fun, interactive way to learn about all of the different scams that are out there, different concepts that go along with these scams, and different agencies that make up Scam Squad to try and protect residents in Cuyahoga County. And then after that, we'll go a little bit more in depth into internet safety and making sure that you can keep yourself secure when you're navigating online. But has anyone here ever played bingo before? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. Great. So this shouldn't be too much different than bingo. You all have player mats here with Scammo there and some chips. What you can go ahead and do is put one of those chips down on the free space, which is that county seal. And, you know, like bingo, you can win. You can get either a diagonal, a cross, or in a column. We're not going to do four corners, unfortunately. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off these cards, and these are definitions. And the answers might be a scam, they might be an emotion that a scammer tries to make you feel, or they might be an agency. And you might know some of these answers, and likely you may not. And that's okay, because we're here to learn together. So some of these answers, when I read them off and we talk about what the answer is, that might be on your game board, or it might not, okay? So similar like how bingo has the different letters and numbers. And of course, when you do get everything in a row, yell out Scammo, and we'll have some prizes for the winners. Does anyone have any questions before we get started here? Okay. All right. So if you need me to repeat one of these definitions, let me know. I'm able to do so. But let's go ahead and play Scammo. So this is something that you need to do. So this is what to do if someone claiming to be a relative asks you for money in an emergency. Yeah, whatever. If you think you find it an answer on the card, or if you know what the answer is, go ahead and let us know. What to do if someone calls you up and says that they are a relative and they're asking you for money and they're in an emergency. Yeah, check with a family member first. These scams are imposters. So oftentimes they are trying to pretend that they are someone that they are not. And the grandparent scam is especially something that is, if you get someone saying that I'm your grandson and I'm in trouble, you need to verify with the actual family member before you make that payment out. Here, I was going to get you a little game card here. All right, so check with a family member. If you have that, go ahead and put a marker down. So this relates to a grandparent scam, but that is not the answer for this one. You might have it on yours, you may not. Yes. Yeah, so take a look around your game board. If you have check with a family member on it, go ahead and put a marker down. And again, some of you may not have that, and that's okay. I'm not trying to scam you. All right. So you should always verify that the person that you're talking to is that actual person before you make any type of payment to someone, okay? All right. So this is something that you should read all of the way through before you sign it. Contract, yes. So before you get into something, you need to be absolutely certain of what you're signing up for. So whether that's a contract with someone that you hire, or even terms or agreements that you might agree to when you're browsing the internet to certain websites. Read those things all the way through so that you know what you're signing up for. All right, so this is a type of scam, a very common, popular scam out there. A scammer says that there is a problem with your Medicare account, and he just needs your card number to work it out. What? Yeah, Medicare scam, Medicare scam. Yes, those are very popular. Never should you be giving out any information to anyone that claims that they are a representative of the government. They don't call you out of the blue to get you that info. So if that happens, that is a scam. All right. So this is a free service that keeps ID thieves from opening credit accounts in your name. Not quite. This is a service that you can use if you think that your identity has been stolen. Yes, credit freeze. If you think that someone has stolen your account information, your identity, you can do a credit freeze, which means that everything is frozen. No one can open up accounts or cards in your name. So that is something that you certainly need to be aware of. All right, so this one might be new to folks, but let's see if you might know it. These are two payment methods that scammers love to use, but legitimate government agencies do not accept. Two payment methods that scammers love. That's it. Money wires and gift cards. If you have someone on the phone saying, hey, there's a problem, I need you to go out and get some gift cards, that's a red flag that that is going to be a scam, okay? So never will a utility company or a sheriff call you up and say, you need to send us a money wire or a gift card to make this, disappear, whatever problem they present you with. A call or text alerts that you have a large payment made against your account. Don't respond to it because it's a ploy to get your account information. It's a type of scam. Not quite, not debt collection. No. No. It's a large payment made against your account. No. That's a little bit different.
Read that again.
I'll read it one more time. A call or a text alerts that you made a large payment against your account. Don't respond. It's a ploy to get your account information.
Financial exploitation?
No. It's a payment pending scam. So it is a scam that says, oftentimes it's saying, hey, I am a representative from Amazon. There is a large payment pending. Did you make this happen? And then they will try to trick you into actually paying out the scammer.
So you said that's a payment?
Payment pending scam. Yes, you have a payment pending. These are actually very, very popular right now in the county. And they come, again, either in a text, a robocall, or as an email, very likely as a phishing email. So that last one was payment pending scam. Yep.
If you have it, still put it, or you just have to say it?
Yeah, if you have it, then put a marker down. Yep.
So it's no two answers to his question,
No.
because that's not on my paper.
Yeah, if it's not on your paper, then you just don't have it.
So you
Yep,
said
yep.
that's a new one?
Yeah, it's a hot one. It's very hot in the county. It's not necessarily new, but it's changed over time, especially with technology. Yeah, and they use imposter companies like Amazon, PayPal, Walmart. They assume that you are using these, but you may not be. All right, so this is a type of scam. A scammer advertises an apartment or vacation rental that they don't own in order to collect deposits from unwitting renters.
Rental scam?
You got it, the rental scam. Yeah, and those are especially if you're using Craigslist. Craigslist is not a great place to try and search for those types of opportunities because those are riddled with scams. So rental scams, be careful. All right, so these are sham social media accounts that steal the names of your friends or well-known celebrities. And once you friend them, they can spam your contacts. Yeah, you got it. And unfortunately, if you use Facebook, especially the messenger part of Facebook, it's riddled with these types of fake social accounts. So they pose as someone that you know, or these hackers or scammers get into actual people's accounts and then spam your messages with certain unfamiliar links. So don't click on those links. And if you think that someone has been compromised, reach out to them directly, not on social media.
So the answer to that one is what now?
That's fake social media friends. Fake social media friends. So if you have that, make sure you put a marker down. So this is malicious code that can steal your passwords, and it's often delivered in email or it's texted to you on your device. Not quite. This is how it can get you into identity theft. What was it? No, that's a very specific scam that could open you up to this type of malicious code. Absolutely. It's malicious code that can steal your passwords, and it's often delivered in an email or even a text link. Yeah. So this one, I'll help you out. This is called spyware. Spyware. So if this gets onto your device, it could be on your phone, it could be on your computer. It could allow a hacker or a scammer to see what passwords you use for like your bank account logins. So it can really compromise certain things. So spyware, but typically that is only introduced to your computer if you click on suspicious or unfamiliar looking links. So that's why we want to be talking about these types of things and educating ourselves about these, because the internet's a wonderful place, but it is filled with bad actors. So spyware, if you have spyware on your card, go ahead and put that chip down.
I don't have nothing you say.
I'm scamming you, right? I'm the scam man. I know you have 3 down. You're getting there.
Yeah, but that's it.
All right. So this is a tool that you can use, a tool. Use this to stop robocalls from constantly ringing on your phone. Yeah, call blocking technology. Some of those things are able to be purchased if you have a landline, but this call blocking technology has slowly been introduced by some of the carriers. So if you have an iPhone, an Android, some of these calls now come in as spam likely, and you can use settings on your phone to automatically filter out those calls that they don't even bother you and reach to you. That doesn't get rid of all of the robocalls out there, but those are new developments with the service carriers, and then the actual makers of those phones. So call blocking technology. And you should also be familiar of how to block a call individually on your phone as well. All right, so another tool. This is a device that displays a caller's number so that you can let unknown calls go to voicemail. Yeah, caller ID. Again, if you don't have this for your landline, it might be something to invest in. But most of, again, AT&T, Verizon, they've now built in a lot of that caller ID into the smartphones. So if you see that spam likely coming up, don't answer it. And even if it's a number that you're really not certain about, let that go to voicemail. Yeah. Whoop. So this is a phony organization that tugs on your heartstrings to collect donations. Yeah, this is a charity scam. So this is actually, unfortunately, when the Ukrainian crisis broke out back in February, a lot of these charity scams were going around, like donate to this fund, it's going to go to Ukraine. It, of course, never went to Ukraine. It was going to scammers. So if you're not certain about a charity that's out there, you can reach out to the Ohio Attorney General, which keeps a track of legitimate charities, okay? So if you think you want to report a charity scam, that's who you want to call. So charity scam, if you have that, go ahead and place a marker down. This is a concept, a term for when a hacker illegally accesses computer files with other people's private information. Ooh, I heard the answer over here to my left, the data breach. Yeah, so that is a massive data breach. And unfortunately, things like, your credit companies that keep your credit scores, those have your social security numbers. Those have been breached in many ways over the years. So these massive amounts of data breaches. Now, your private information is things like your social security number, your bank account numbers. That's the stuff that should never be in other people's hands. But there is public information like your age, your address, your name, and that's stuff that really anyone can get access to. But we want to keep your private information secured, and that's really important. That's what hackers and scammers are going for when they do data breaches. This is something you should do if you answer the phone and it's someone you don't know. Yeah, hang it up. You're not expecting this call from someone. It's someone that's claiming to be maybe a sheriff or your family member, but you know it's not. If it's just someone you don't know, hang it up, okay? Because it could open you up to a possible scam. All right. So we kind of touched on this earlier. This is a specific scam in which an imposter pretends to be a grandchild who has been in an accident and needs money of sort. Yeah, the grandparent scam. They're not as popular as they used to be, but they still happen occasionally. In fact, we had someone call in to Scam Squad and report a grandparent scam. They said it was so realistic, they swear they heard their grandson's voice, but for them, they were lucky because they were with their spouse, who immediately called the grandson and found out that they weren't in prison and jail because of an accident. They were out on vacation in Canada having a good time. So again, that's why you always want to verify and check with a family member. But of course, in the moment, it's very scary, and the scammer's saying, don't tell anyone. Let's keep this between us. Yeah, so those grandparent scams, if you had that, put a marker down. They're super scary. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, they're not super hot right now, but they still do happen occasionally. So this is a federal agency that investigates robocalls and deceptive business practices. You got it, the FTC. And they are partners with us at Scam Squad. So the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. So these are what the FTC is really trying to crack down on, but it's hard to do. Illegal pre-recorded phone calls made to thousands of people at once. Yes, robocalls. And sometimes even millions, depending on the sophistication of a scammer's software. There are actual call centers that all they do is these robocalls all day long. So you might think you're on the phone with a robocaller or with a scammer and you're wasting their time, but they're making all of these calls out at once. So they're calling someone else while they're talking to you. Robocalls. So if you have robocalls, go ahead and put a chip down. Let's see. Oh, we did contract. Yep. I'm going to help you out a little bit. All right. So this is something that you want to do before you do business with someone that you don't know. Yeah, research. You can't just assume someone for their word. Research, verify that they actually are the people that they're talking about. If they're a legitimate business, You should be able to find reviews about them. So do some basic research, okay? Certainly before you sign a contract or you do business with someone new. All right, I touched on this briefly. Social security numbers and bank account numbers are two examples of this. No. There we go. Never share this info with someone who calls you. So social security numbers and bank account numbers are personal information, private information. I interchange those two.
So that's not the same as the Social Security scam.
No, that's different. Personal information. So I did say that things like your public information, it's out there, unfortunately, like your name, your address, but this personal, private information, that really should not be in anyone's hands but yours or people you know and trust, okay? So if that's out there, that's a problem. Scams are designed to make you feel this emotion so that you don't think clearly and that you pay into the scam. No. Spoofing's a funny word, but it's not an emotion. No. So this is an emotion. Scams are designed to make you feel this way so that you pay before you think clearly. Yeah. They want to make you feel panic. Yeah, so if you have panic on your game board, put a chip down. That is how these scams work. They're making you scared. Again, they're going to tell you, don't tell anyone else. Let's keep this between ourselves. And they're going to make you feel anxious and panicked so that you don't think clearly. All right? So this is a member of Scam Squad, and it is a statewide office that investigates consumer complaints and regulates charities. Ohio Attorney General. Yeah, I mentioned them earlier with that charity scam. Again, these are partners that are on our Scam Squad meetings that are actually, we meet on the very first of Thursday of the month. So we had a Scam Squad earlier meeting. Uh-oh. All right. Well, let's give it a little round of applause. Now, don't clear your game boards yet. Don't clear your game boards. We're going to continue for another winner, but she can't win. Yeah, you got to yell out Scammo. All right. Well, our first winner, you get your choice of whichever candy you like. All right. And like I said, don't clear your boards because we're going to keep going for another winner here. All right. So you can still play with us, but you just can't win again, okay? All right, so that last one again was Ohio Attorney General, so make sure you have a chip down if you have that. All right, so this is a scam. A caller says that you're eligible for free medical equipment or supplies, but then you get stuck with a bill. That's right, the medical equipment scam. We did talk about the Medicare scam earlier, but if people get your number, they're saying like you can get this for free, but then they often charge your Medicare and then you get a bill of sorts. So yeah, the medical equipment scam. Check reports at this Scam Squad organization before you do business with a company you're not familiar with. That's right, the Better Business Bureau. Again, you should always be doing research. The Better Business Bureau sits on our Scam Squad meetings, and they are credible sources for you to do research with. All right, so this is a hot scam in the county. Any call from someone threatening to lock you up unless you pay a fine or a fee. That's right, arrest scams. And these are super scary in the moment, but what you got to really just remember is law enforcement officials are never going to call actual criminals to say, we're coming to get you. All right? They're doing that to scare you because you're not criminals. You're people that want to do right. And so now you're feeling panicked because you don't know how the justice system works. So, yeah, our former president didn't get that call saying they were coming to Mar-a-Lago. They just showed up. That's why he was mad. All right, so tech support scammers call past victims to tell them that they can get a refund if they just share their bank account information.
Tech support refund scam.
Yeah, tech support refund scam. That's different than the tech repair scam. That's a little different, but legitimate companies like Microsoft, Apple, they're never going to call you out directly, okay? So that is a scam if that happens to you.
So that answer is tech support.
Tech support refund scam. I know, you're getting close there. You got two more. Oh, okay, so this is similar to the arrest scam, and in fact, they've kind of been combined. A phone call threatening prosecution for failing to appear for jury duty or a court hearing. Yes, jury duty scam. And again, if you're not familiar with how jury duty summons work, those always come through the mail. So jury duty scams, they seem scary in the moment. It is, yeah. A broad term for anyone who pretends to be a trusted person, a police, family, or agency in order to get you to share personal information or money. It's not a scam, but a concept or a definition. A term for anyone who pretends to be a trusted person in order to gain credibility and then to manipulate you out of money. No, not quite. No.
Impossible.
Yeah, I helped you out. That's an imposter. All of these scammers are imposters. They pretend to be your grandchild. They pretend to be a law enforcement individual. They pretend to be a utility company representative. But these are people that are following a script, just trying to manipulate you into losing your money. So these are always imposters. So this is what it's called when someone steals and uses your personal information without your consent, without your knowledge. That's identity theft. Yes. And there is a place called identitytheft.gov. It's run by the FTC, and it has a lot of different steps that if you think your information has been compromised, it allows you avenues to secure your information. So identity theft. All right, so this one is a tough scam. It's a scam, but a little bit different than these other scams. An online relationship in which a scammer pretends to love you. Yeah. So this flips the script, right? So instead of panic and in the moment, most of these scams, they only last like no more than 5 minutes. But these romance scams, they make you feel loved and wanted. And unfortunately, we usually don't hear about these until a year or 2 years later, after a scam victim has lost a lot of money. Entire bank accounts taken. Some people will take out mortgages, extra loans, all for this relationship they think is real, but they never meet this person. And certainly with the COVID and all the isolation that came from that, these have skyrocketed. So romance scams, it's something that you really need to be aware of, and they're tough. They're tough.
I saw that on Dr. Phil still.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And typically, it's someone that maybe is a widower, but the tough ones are when they still have a spouse, and the spouse is the one that reports it to us. Because then there's those, cheating, but anyway. Those are tough scams. All right, so this is another scam. Easy money employment offers that are designed to get you to pay fees, reveal your personal information, or to accept fake or fraudulent checks.
Fake check.
Nope. Fake job scam. Yeah. Yeah, these are out there, and a lot of young folks tend to really get wrapped up in these, but a fake job scam can get anyone into it if you're not familiar of how to properly search for jobs online. So especially like that Craigslist can be good, but it's typically got a lot of bad actors there. So fake job scam, if you have that, put it down. A Cuyahoga County agency that connects older residents with services and benefits. Yeah, DSAS, Division of Senior and Adult Services. They are also a VIP member of Scam Squad. They work with us about specific scams, but they also help if there is someone in your life that you know that's manipulating you. That's called exploitation. They also help with those cases. So, DSAS. Uh-oh, we got a scammo. Where at? Over there? Okay. Where was it? Ah, the diagonal. All right. And don't clear your boards yet. We'll go for one more winner here. All right. So, this is a county agency that investigates scams and deceptive business practices. Yeah, that's us. That's me. That's me and my. Oh, hey, congratulations. Well, that was quick. Cuyahoga County Department of Consumer Affairs. Yeah, and that's who I am with. Where's, oh, yep, right down there. Good job.
God, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. All right.
All right. Well, give yourself a round of applause. Congratulations to the winners. Thank you for playing. I do. Yeah, go ahead.
Nothing but scams. I mean, because they're on a roll
Yeah.
with the computers and phones and all of this, and our seniors, they're taking a big fight.
Yeah, absolutely. So statistically, the age group that gets scammed the most tends to be between 30 and 50. But older residents, when they are scammed, they tend to give out the most money. They lose the most. And that's a really tough spot. So that's really the reason Scam Squad came into formation. It was a senior task force, and it still is. So it's made up of nonprofits, local law enforcement, different government agencies like the FTC, Ohio Attorney General, the FBI is a part of it. We are all trying to come together to holistically work together to best protect residents, because a lot of this stuff falls into different places. A lot of times these scammers, they're out of state or even out of country. That makes it really hard for local law enforcement to specifically just crack down on things. They typically don't take in these scam reports unless there's massive amount of money lost, which for some folks, they only maybe lose up to $1,000, which is a lot. I mean, I don't have $1,000 just to give away to a scammer, but it tends to not be as big on their radar. That doesn't mean that there aren't agencies trying to protect you. It's just hard to do, and it's best if we all come together to try and help folks.
Isn't it true that a lot of the scammers are foreign people?
A lot of time, yes.
Yeah, because those calls, I get foreign people.
Yep. Yeah, and it can be all over the place. Back in the 90s, a lot of the telemarketer call centers were in the States, in America, but there were a lot of crackdowns on them. They moved out towards Florida, to Las Vegas, and now they're all offshore. But because of their access to technology is wonderful. It's not something that we should be afraid of, but we need to educate ourselves in order to make certain that we don't become targets of these scammers. So these scammers now have access to software that allows them to make these abusive robocalls that, again, are illegal, but they're calling from call centers out of country and it's hard for us to crack down on them here without having a partnership with those countries. Specifically, there was a detective in Solon that I talked to, and there was a resident there that got scammed. I think it was somewhere close to $1,000. And they eventually found the IP address, did a subpoena, and they were able to track and trace that the scammer was in Russia. So, as you know, we're having not great terms with Russia at the moment, so we're not going to be working with those Russian law enforcement officials to get those scammers. Not at this time. So again, yeah, technology has just opened things up and changed the world and the landscape dramatically.
They also say that when someone is scammed, they're embarrassed to report it. So that's another issue.
Yeah. What was the question? Yeah, but now we're just doing Q&A, so if you have questions, let me know. Yeah, I forgot the specific question that was just asked that I riffed on there. What was the point that you just brought up?
No, I was just saying that a lot of the people that get scammed is embarrassed.
Yes.
They
So
say they're embarrassed to report it, so a lot of scams don't get reported.
exactly. Yeah, and it can be tough because there is that stigma around folks. Like, how could you be so stupid to fall for this scam? But as I kind of touched on originally, these scammers are professionals. It's a full-time job to be a scammer. They've got sophisticated software. They've got scripts. Some of these people willingly know what they're doing. Some of these people are in fake job scams, and they don't know what they're really doing. So, yeah, it's really tough out there, especially with those romance scams. Like, those can be super embarrassing because not only have you given away your life savings, but you fell for someone that isn't there. You never met that person. And, yeah, you don't want to tell your family or friends or community that happened. But that's why we're really out here telling you that it's okay. It's okay to ask for help before it becomes a larger problem down the road. And especially that's us at Scam Squad. We've got 2 investigators that are ready to pick up the call. So even if you're reporting a scam to us that you got involved in, or you're not certain about something and you want to make certain that you don't get scammed, give us a call. They're ready to answer any of your questions about any unfamiliar text that you might get, robocalls that you might get, an email that you might have that looks suspicious. So we really want to be there before people even get scammed. So I'll go a little bit more in depth, but any other questions about Scammo or specific scams you may have come across?
I can tell you one thing, when you get a scam call, because you get so many of them, I do, you ever try to dial that number back?
You're not supposed to,
But it's disconnected, you cannot get through.
typically.
I did try it.
Yes. We didn't get into one thing. Someone mentioned spoofing. So these scammers will often mask their number to be something that you think is a local number. So it's going to come up as a 216, a 440, a 330. It might not even come up as a number that is from a family member.
Yes, it happened to me.
Yeah, so oftentimes if that happens, we heard this report, a story that someone got a call from their mother. So the actual icon came up, it said mom's phone. More than likely, that was the result of her going in and clicking on an unfamiliar link or downloading a remote access app that compromised her device to scammers. And then they went in and actually made the call from her device to try and trick the son that got the call.
So what I said I did is can they do anything because I tried to dial their number back just to see can anything happen because I did that?
We advise you not to do that because there are a lot of things of like self-initiated scams. In fact, even like Googling like proper tech support, Microsoft or Apple, a lot of scammers will make fake sites. So you might try to reverse and call that to see who it is, but if it is a scammer, it's going to be disconnected. Or if they use a spoof number, you're going to be calling another person around here and yelling at them thinking they're the scammer, but they're just another poor person that had their number used. as that scam
Okay.
call. Yeah,
Also, that could put you on their list.
that's right.
Yeah, that could put you on their list.
I'm glad you brought that up. So I do want to touch on robocalls, because a lot of these will come through your phone, and they will then initiate into other types of things like download this app. So it does relate a lot to these cyber crimes. But these robocalls, if you do start talking to a scammer, and you even know that they're a scammer, they're like, even though you're not going along with them, they're going to sell your information that you picked up the phone and started talking to them to another scam list. Okay, those are lead generators. So they're going to say, so like, I pick it up, I'm like, hey, I know you're a scammer. I work for Scam Squad. They don't care. They're not scared. They're just going to put Drew Thomas picked up this phone, yelled at me, and they're going to send it off to another scammer that's going to say, well, I'll save this for a day that I'm going to try when Drew's maybe having a bad day. I'm going to call him up again and see if I can get him. So any type of, we always encourage you, let it go to voicemail. If it's legitimate, they will give you a legitimate message, whether it's the doctor's office, someone that you know. They should they'll leave you a message. These scammers typically never leave you voicemails, and if they do, there's details in those voicemails that make it seem fraudulent. Yeah, go ahead.
One other thing that I noticed as far as these robocalls is coming in, they only ring it 3 times, and then it's gone. You know, and so on my phone, I let it ring 3 times. And then,
Yeah.
you know, I don't answer it. I just let it ring 3 times.
If I don't know the number,
they hang up.
Yeah. And that might be different with different servicers and carriers that you have. But certainly, yeah, if you do pick it up and it's someone you don't know, just hang it up. All right. It's okay. Yeah. And do not call back those unknown numbers. We really advise against that. And as I mentioned before, when you get that unknown number, go ahead and just block it, or use your settings to filter out those spam likely calls so they never even bother you. There is a lawsuit right now through the Ohio Attorney General's office that's really trying to crack down on these robocalls. But what they're doing is they're targeting the lead generators. So these are companies that say that they are legitimate companies or phone carriers, but they really just spam people and then sell that information to other scammers. So they're not exactly going after the scammer, because those scammers really hide themselves in a lot of ways, but they're going after the lead generators that are found in America, in the States. So other than that, we have a new internet safety page that we would want to make certain that you are all aware of. We are in a collaboration with the Digital Navigators. We do have their website down there as additional resources. But you know, we are all here to make certain that anyone that's new users to broadband, doesn't matter your age, there's a lot of things that you just might not be aware of when you're navigating the internet. So we certainly want to make certain that you're protected, your device, whether it's a smartphone, a laptop, whatever it might be. So we've got things about basic protection for your device, and then how to spot and avoid those common online scams. And now you know who to report those scams to, Scam Squad. So I will pass some more materials around. But some of the resources that we link to are credible partners like the FCC. So if you want to make certain that your smartphone is all up to date and secured, we've got an easy how-to smartphone security checker. From there, we also link to the Federal Trade Commission's website for online privacy and security. And this has topics from making sure you're on if you're using a public Wi-Fi, how to make that secure, what malicious software is, malware, how to get rid of things that have compromised your security from your device, basic things like a password checklist. We link to the Consumer Reports Security Planner, which is, again, another interactive way to specifically secure whatever device it is that you're interested in securing. So whether that's a smartphone, laptop, baby monitor, video game console for maybe a grandchild or someone else in your family, it's got all of that, those details. I think that's pretty much it here. I'll also pass out some of these, it's not the hang up if cards, but it's these scammo cards with some classic red flags to be aware of. So if you get a caller that's threatening you, saying that you have to act now or pay now in an unfamiliar way, you bet yourself 100% that that is a scam, okay? And don't believe anyone that says you've automatically won some money. It's not easy to win money, okay? No, then they're gonna say, well, give us your account info, give us your credit card info. We have to charge you a little winning fee or something like that. All right. Does anyone else have any other specific questions or scams or experiences that they want to bring up?
Is there a particular number that you can call to stop a lot of the scam calls? I was told that there's a number.
So there is that do not call list you can sign up for, and that's when legitimate companies like telemarketing companies or other companies that are trying to sell you a product, they're technically not supposed to abuse and then just send you random calls. But these robocalls, they exist, these are illegal actors. They're going to ignore that don't call me list. So the best ways are using that the call blocking technology on your phone, so that filtering in those spam likely calls so that they don't come to you. That doesn't mean they're not coming to you, it just hides them in the background and it doesn't make your phone ring. So you can get some relief from that if you're getting like repetitive abusive calls. And as I mentioned, the Ohio Attorney General, they're the ones that are really trying to do that lawsuit to reduce the amount of robocalls that you get. Unfortunately, we live in this murky water of, you know, these phone companies and phone carriers, they make money when activity happens. So they don't look closely at whether it's a legitimate company that's making these calls or if it's a scammer making these calls. Because they profit no matter what on the activity that's going on. So it's really needs to have maybe more stronger legislation that kind of regulates that world a little bit more. But there has been so much deregulation, especially around the internet, and a lot of these calls use internet and IP addresses. So they're not calling on the phone lines necessarily, but using internet to make these calls. So it's hard, but there are agencies trying to tighten up those rules. But yeah, things like Verizon and AT&T, they make money no matter what. But good question. Any other questions, comments?
Anybody had some recent experience with the scams? What about mail? You know, receiving mail, you know, letters being scammed.
Yeah.
I mean, what can we do about that?
So there are still scams that come through the mail. So like a lot of like lottery or sweepstakes scams or the publishing clearinghouse scam. Well, you'll get something that looks legitimate in the mail and you might go along with it. But those, again, if you're not quite certain, give us a call at Scam Squad. We can walk you through. We have a list of typical things that are mailed out that are scams. You can try reaching out to the post office inspector general there. They have one of those. They do have a specific scam like group, but it's really hard to like stop it completely. Yeah, I've had someone unfortunately get wrapped up in one of those sweepstake mailers that came out to them just because they didn't clearly read it very well. They themselves had low levels of literacy. They really thought they won, but it's really just hard to win free money. So that's really just that red flag I give out. If you're not really certain about something, give us a call. We'll walk you through it.
Do you think scammers? Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
What's strange is when those mailers come out like you done won something
Yeah.
and everything. You ain't even played with the company.
Yeah, that's right.
You ain't even played. I don't play public, you know.
Yeah.
No.
I get it, but you know, our human nature, it's like, oh, wow, I won something. And the other one is the government grant scam. We didn't get to that on the Scammo, but that's another one. We're saying, hey, the government wants to give you money. Well, no, they don't. It's hard to get money from the government. You have to submit all these applications. And then if you do get money, there's like, well, let's track how you used it. So it's very, well, the stimulus was different because that was a different time with COVID. But yeah, the government likes to usually take your money sometimes with taxes. But
That's what I was going to say. Also, when you're talking about the government, you get a letter in the mail saying, you know, it's from IRS, or you get a letter in the mail from your own bank that those could possibly at times be scams.
yeah,
So you have to be careful of their logo and.
that's right.
And different things.
Tina?
ASC3 is a part of the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, so we talk with a lot of partners in state and out of state, and we have heard some rumblings of scams with the Affordable Connectivity Program. And I was wondering if any of that information made it to the scam squad.
That specifically hasn't. The hot scams right now that we are seeing right in the county, and we're getting reports from residents, are those like arrest and jury duty scams. So they're getting calls saying, hey, you screwed up something, you need to go to the Justice Center immediately. So that's what we're seeing like right now in our county. But there are probably scams that are happening and being targeted throughout the nation, and then usually will sweep through our region here. So those could be coming through. Have you had clients talk about those scams that you've worked with?
The only one that I had come in the center was working with a third-party contractor
Okay.
for one of the ISPs, so I'm sure that's a lot harder to determine who it was and whether they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, if you do hear that it's happening from people that are being targeted, you certainly report that and let us know. We share that information with the FTC. The FTC has a local Cleveland office, but of course they have a national database that all of these scams get into. And that's important for us to mine that info to see exactly how these scams are morphing, because scammers are always changing their stories, the ways that they're telling you to make these payments. You know, I did mention gift cards, but they're really kind of knowing that everyone knows if you hear gift card, it's a scam. So now they're switching into cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins. So they're morphing their scams. We need to continue to be educating and knowing what they're doing so we can educate all of you. Yeah. There's another point I was going to bring up, but it's escaped me at the moment.
I haven't heard, I've heard of gift cards, but
Uh-huh.
I've not heard of that type of scam where they're getting into, conversation.
Mm-hmm. The reason that those are scary, and this is actually, we worked with a special project with the FBI to get these Bitcoin warnings up, but these are new Bitcoin ATMs have been going into a lot of local convenience stores or mini marts that are close by, but there's not a lot of education of what Bitcoin actually is. So scammers are saying like, oh, hey, don't worry, I'm with the government, or I'm with your utility company. This is a new form that we're doing to make payments. And so they trick people into saying, go to that ATM, put in a little bit of money, it mines a little bit of Bitcoin that can be transferred to that scammer's account. And they trust me, they're experts. They'll make sure you know how to use it, because that's how those scams work, even if you're not quite certain.
I know one thing that I have tried to avoid is a company calling me with and asking me a question like yes, for me to answer yes. So I avoid answering yes, even if the information, whatever the question is, my natural response would be a yes. It's like, no, I don't say yes.
Yeah,
Because I have heard that they can take that yes and then use it
as consent.
Your voice.
Yeah.
Use it for something else.
Those can happen when it's these large robocalls. It's not usually happening with those, but if it is a very specialized niche scam that's coming for you specifically, then that is something to be aware of. Because of technology is growing, some scammers have been using, especially with the grandparent scams, they can splice out audio from, like, if you have any grandparents on TikTok or other YouTube, they'll take out a little bit of that and then put it into the scam call that they make towards you. So it actually does sound like your loved one's voice. And it can be pretty scary. It's not on a mass level yet, but it is happening with like hyper-fixated scams.
But like you said, they're very creative.
Yeah.
I mean, they look
That's right.
You know, and so it's really ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's a guy why we try to get rid of that stigmatization of folks. You're not stupid because you fall for these scammers know basic human psychology to get you, again, that panic or even excited or even that love you might feel in those romance scams. They take, it's really insidious of how awful they take advantage of folks. You know, they're not murderers, they're not robbers. I mean, they are fraudsters. They're robbing you of your money. But the way they go about it is such in a very smart way. Yeah. But oftentimes they're sloppy, and that's the thing. They're expecting that they panic you so much that you don't realize that there's one little thing off of like maybe in their email address or the URL that they tell you to go to. But usually there's details that are off. But yeah, any other questions or comments, experiences, jokes? Even
Keep sharing anything from one of your own relatives that you know may have gotten scammed because everything helps.
One thing I've noticed recently, I have won so much coming through my email.
Yeah.
But what I am training myself to do is to look at the email address.
yes.
And well, I mean, for me, I want it. No, you keep it. I don't want it. But I'm training myself to look at that email address. Does that look like an official address, or does something? And I mean, I could definitely be wrong, but I want so much stuff in the last few months.
Yeah. Or it's like you get this deal, or I don't know if anyone uses HelloFresh, but they've actually come under scrutiny from the FTC because they've used marketing tactics that are like they're like dark tactics. They're ways that they trick and manipulate people into being their customer. They're like, you're going to get 14 free meals, but you still have to sign up, and then you pay out a lot of money, and then later down the road, you get a discount on one of those meals that comes through. And oftentimes they will like hide some of the fees. So there are legitimate companies out there that just use bad tactics. And those are things that these regulators are trying to crack down on. But then, of course, there are full-on scammers that are using them as well. And it's really hard to differentiate it. But things like if you're like checking out on Amazon or something and it's giving you that clock that's ticking, like you've only got this amount of time before you can make this purchase, that's, oh no, I'm rushing. Now I have to really buy this. That's allowed, but it's still a manipulative tactic. Yeah, it's hard out there. And the internet, it's changed a lot even from when I first got on it back in like 2000. It's a tough place to be. But that's why you all need to be educated about it. I've run into a lot of folks that are like, well, I got scammed once, and, I lost $500. I'm not trusting this device again. And that's sad because, again, as I mentioned before, the internet's a great place. It's a great tool. It connects you. It increases your opportunities, allows for more social community. You just got to be educated and aware of those bad actors and the dangers that are out there. Gina.
I found a scam joke for you.
Nice. What is
Are
it?
you ready?
I'm ready.
What do you get when you merge two scams?
Two scams. Oh.
Confusion.
Confusion. That's a good one. That's a cute one.
You
Yeah.
better write that down, bro.
Well, we actually call those hybrid scams because those are legitimate scams. But no, that's a cute one. I got to use that more. All right, y'all.
I don't know all of the details of this scam.
Uh-huh.
This was years ago. Maybe when it first started, or first we were aware of it. But when you got a call and you were asked to go to Walgreens or CVS or somewhere and pay some money there and pick up a package, or I don't know how exactly went. Are you familiar with that system?
That sounds like a reshipper scam where they trick you into thinking that maybe you have a job or you need to do something for them, but more than likely you're helping them move like illegal something, whether it's other money or a package that people sent.
Yeah, but isn't
Yeah.
the store? I mean, we're talking about places like Walgreens and CVS. Aren't they familiar with this? That they let you come there and do this?
Well, they may have used to, but a lot of times, like now especially, because people are directed to get gift cards. If they see someone like buying massive amounts of the same gift card, they are told to not make that sale, because 99.9% of that time, that person is involved in a scam. So those retailers have tried. I'm not sure about like the specific, like, would they pick up the packages from CVS?
I vaguely remember a little bit about it, but I'm not really sure. But I know that they named a legitimate place for you to go to pay to buy, maybe buy a gift card there. I don't know exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But I said, it looks like to me that the store would have known that if they were getting a bunch of these calls, that something was going on and they shouldn't permit it. But I don't know.
They have gotten better, but certainly back in the day, they would usually allow people, because at the end of, they're making money. The stores makes money off of that. The scammer's now getting the money, so it's really the consumer that gets screwed over. But more so, they've been more likely to stop those types of, if those red flags are coming up, they won't go forward with the transaction.
Yeah, my sister works at Target, and they get a lot of that, and they don't allow, like just what you just said about gift cards.
Yep.
And they said, no, they can't do it.
Yep.
Well, they've had a man come in there, he really argued a point about why he should be allowed to do this.
Yep.
But she talk about every day about the scam things that goes on at Target.
And then now scammers are saying, all right, well, go get 5 cards here, get 5 cards here, get 5 cards here, and then read them off. And again, if you're just not familiar that is a scam, you're already into it. You've already believed that person's credible and that you're helping them out, it's tough. So there are ways that scammers circumvent the things that stores try to do to protect the consumers. And the same thing again with those carriers, the AT&Ts, the Verizons. All of this activity is happening on their through their systems, but it's hard for them. They're not the ones that are actually doing the calls. So they're saying, like, how can we really know what is the call coming through that's getting to the actual person? And so, they do profit off of the activity that happens on their lines. So it's really incentivizing them to say, no, you're going to lose some money, but it's better because now your consumers aren't going to be scammed by these mostly foreign actors. But yeah, it's really trying to convince these stores to do the right thing, which is tough.
How safe is Zelle and Cash App?
Great. I'm glad you brought Zelle, Cash App. Venmo is another one. These are legitimate person-to-person companies that you can make payments through. I've used Venmo for about 4 years now, and I've never had an issue. But that's because I know exactly who I'm making the payment to. There are like different steps saying, are you sure you want to pay this person? Confirm their last 4 digits of their number. And that's why we say, never make a payment to someone you don't absolutely know who they are. They might appear to be credible. You might think you're giving it to someone that's a legitimate government actor, but government agencies aren't using Zelle, Venmo, or PayPal. PayPal or Cash App too. So PayPal's another one. Unfortunately, there was a woman I talked to a few months back that got wrapped up in a utility shutoff scam. So she had her utility company saying, you're past due. You need to make this payment now. We'll help you make this payment through Zelle. She used to work for Chase Bank that was just getting Zelle, starting to use that as a feature. So she's like, oh, I've kind of heard of Zelle before. Well, that makes sense to me. I'll make this payment. So she ended up like paying, I forget, it was like, I think close to $1,000 because it was like, yeah, I don't know. She was like 3 months behind is what the narrative made her think. And I think she just had it like on auto withdrawal. So she wasn't like checking everything and verifying her bank account. So she made the payment through Zelle. And once you make the payment through the Zelle or Cash App and you confirm, then it's gone. You can't get it back because you've made that agreement that you know where it's going to, and you check that box. So that leaves that website, that service from any responsibility, and says the responsibility is all on you. So that's why scammers love to use that. They love to use the gift cards, the Bitcoin, the Zelles, because once you send that, it's so hard to get it back. And even if you want to find out who it is, it's really hard to trace exactly where that money went. Yeah.
Like, you place an order through Amazon.
Uh-huh.
This is what I've done. I don't know if this. I placed an order through Amazon. When I place that order and I get that item, I go back on Amazon and remove my account number because I'm afraid that someone else could get your account number. So I always do that. I don't know if that's what people do, but that's what I do.
I think that's fine and fair. But you know, your account number can be compromised if you have accidentally downloaded a suspicious, by clicking on a suspicious link, malware has gone onto your device, and they can then, as you're going through everything, they're seeing everything that is on your screen. So whatever you're punching in, even though it's coming up as ... they know exactly what the password or the account number could be. But yeah, it is certain. It's better safe than sorry. But
Yeah.
I would say it's probably going more above and beyond.
I just don't want to leave my account number with anyone. So
Yeah.
if I could go back and remove it, that's what I do.
That's
Because
fair.
I have no problem with it. The very next time that I'm going to order from Amazon, I can put that number back in. So I delete it afterwards.
Are you talking about like using the browser to delete it? Like, are you using Google where it saves like your credentials?
And remove it. And go back into that same item that I purchased and go back into that account. And they have something on there where you can remove your account number.
I don't use Amazon too much. So you're talking about when you're actually in the Amazon, right?
Is there a reason why, or you just you feel
I-
like Amazon is?
I just don't like it personally because of other reasons of how they've taken like the mom and pop shops away.
Oh, okay.
But I actually love it because I get these texts and emails saying your Amazon account has been used or there's a payment against your Amazon account. And I'm like, well, I don't have an Amazon account, so I know this is a scam. But those are those payment pending types of scams that they just assume that you're using it. So, yeah, but like, you know, I do use PayPal. So if I get some of those, I'm like, oh, let me double check my actual PayPal account. I'm not clicking on this email. I'm going into the actual PayPal. But yeah, you should always be going into the actual accounts using the actual URLs, not anything that you are provided through an email necessarily. Unless you can verify that that email is from Amazon or whatever company you're working with. So yeah, to your point, whoever mentioned that you're looking closely at the email addresses of things, that is really good practice, a good rule of thumb to do.
UPS has a lot of that one, and I know it's really not UPS. You ever see that on your phone?
Do you get the text?
UPS by the package.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't order. I haven't ordered a package, so I already know that that's not legit. I see that all the time.
Yep, that's one of those another phishing texts. Yep, similar to those robocalls.
I just delete it.
That's perfect. Yeah, and usually you're not in any trouble unless you actually click into a link, and then usually there it has more steps that you have to follow until your device is fully like compromised. So, you know, I never want, if you see something come in your email and you know it's a spam email or scam email, go ahead and just delete it. You're okay. No need to worry. But again, if you are not very certain, give our Scam Squad a call and we can walk you through some of those things of identifying if that is a fraudulent email. Yeah, so actually I'm going to pass these out, these little reminders.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this has at the very bottom our Scam Squad line in bold. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you call a scammer going down the stairs?
I need two, please.
What do you call it?
These are newer ones.
Condescending.
It's all going to start with con, isn't it? You're on a page, aren't you? There you go.
Also, be
There you
careful about some of the kiosks you visit, you know, some of the folks that are out on the stoops.
Yep.
Because, you know, they set up those little stoops and they may not even have a license with the county, you know, so you gotta be real careful, you know, just
Yeah.
with anything, online, you know, in person. You know, scams are just, you know, they're it's really increasing daily, so we have to be careful about each and everything. And I don't know if you had any, you know, anybody, you know, call your office about a kiosk, you know, scam.
So those are things to be legitimately aware of. Like you'll get these like different tables out there in front of businesses. It could be like Metro PCS, which is legitimate, or these other groups that you think they're legitimate, but they're just collecting your info and they're sending it off to scammers. Those are lead generators. So lead generators, they're typically coming through robocalls or other online avenues, but they still do the good old-fashioned way where they set up physical locations. There are some people that are still out there going door to door saying, show me your utility bill. And then from there they get in your comp. So they still happen in the good old-fashioned ways. There are still the Nigerian prince scams. So I'm sure everyone's heard of those. Those are called the 419 scams because it relates to Nigerian code that actually does talk about how those scams have changed and morphed. So yeah, now it's not I'm a Nigerian prince, but it's like, oh, help me, I'm a political asylee or whatever. So those scams still exist in some forms.
What
But, yeah.
about I've gotten a letter that, I'm the only one so-and-so, and I have all of this money to give away, and, I just, it's like, okay, delete, whatever.
Yep, that's the best way. Again, it's really hard to just win something out of the blue unless you've been willed it or something, or it's from a family member that you know. Strangers or the government are just not randomly giving you money. I wish it was like that, but yeah, if that's happening, you can bet yourself that's a scam.
They had,
The old folks used to say you can't cheat a honest man.
Yeah.
Most folks, a lot of folks look for this because they think they're getting something for nothing.
Yeah.
Or they're beating the other party.
Yeah. And there is a cultural difference with older residents and younger folks. Like a lot of older residents have grown up in a different age. Before a lot of the internet happened, you could trust people by the things that they said. But now you've got these scammers doing the same thing, and they're really hoping that you're still going to be trusting of them. But like a lot of my generation and even younger generations than me have been told, like, you got to be fearful. There's people that are going to be hurting you in whatever context, either what you know or imposters. Don't trust anyone until you can really verify that they are legitimate and credible. So it's tough. Kind of stinks that that's how our society is, but there's good things to it too. It's just it has changed a lot, and technology and access to the internet has invited a lot more of those bad actors in. But that's why we got to empower ourselves with education. It's okay. Don't be scared. We're going to be through this together. And we at the county are here as a resource for you to make sure you don't get scammed.
I had asked a question about a phone number before about the number that you could call to stop some of these scams. Do you have that number? Or?
It's not like a specific number. You can go through the Ohio Attorney General to get onto that do not call list.
Oh, the Ohio
But
General?
yeah, but again, that's not going to completely stop those
Right.
robocalls.
But it'll stop some of it.
Maybe. It's going to call it's going to stop the ones that are like the telemarketers that are using abusive techniques to try and sell you a product. It's not going to stop those auto warranty calls, because those then lead you to like these car service products that are also kind of fraudulent. Those are some of the big ones that are out there. Those auto warranty callers are from like a company, but it's just a few scammers that have called across the entire country. So everybody, they've made certain to call every single number that exists. And it's just a very popular one. But that's one of the ones that the Ohio Attorney General and other state attorney generals have been cracking down on. So, but of course, there'll just be a new company, a new scammer, a new type of scam prompt that'll take its place.
If we see some advertising from, it just brought to mind that I see some auto warranty or refrigerator warranty, and I see them come across my television, should I assume that they may be?
Usually if it's on the television, it's a different thing, because then it's asking you to like reach out to them and initiate into the agreement. But if you got those auto warranty calls, those are coming at you. So that's like a telltale sign, like this is not something you need. They're just trying to sell you something that you don't. Yeah, it's fraudulent and usually turns into something else, not just renewing your auto warranty.
Calls start early in the morning. They do. Spam with.
And they go to the evening.
Warranty
10
things
o'clock.
on television.
They go to the evening too. 10
Yep.
o'clock.
Yeah, but they start early. But on my phone, I have it where I can block a number. So I block it. You know right now how many calls I've blocked? I just saw the other day, 1,150 calls.
And that's
that I've blocked.
That's our best advice, and it's tedious because you have to go in and physically block
Well,
every
when the phone
unknown
rings-
call.
No, when the phone rings, there's, right in the center, it says block, there's a yes and there's a no.
Oh, there you
So
go.
I hit block and then yes, and it's gone, and that's a phew.
Yeah, I was ready to say the phones have gotten much more sophisticated.
Yeah,
now,
mine's
where
very
you can just
easy.
block them on the incoming call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while it's still ringing, I block it.
Well, I decline it, and then I go in and I hit like that little I button next to it, and I'll go into block caller. What phone do you have?
I have a Panasonic, but I'm with AT&T.
Okay.
But I have those 5 phones.
Do you have like the Android phone, the
Yes.
Samsung type? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those might be a little bit different.
I'm sorry.
So I don't know if it has an immediate block or if you're talking about like the decline button.
No, immediate block.
Okay. Cool.
It says on there block, a yes and a no.
Okay.
Say something, Cynthia?
So while it's ringing, I hit block, and then yes, and you'll hear it when it blocks it.
Okay. Yeah, so when I get like a phone call on my iPhone, I have iPhone, I'll get the accept or decline,
Oh,
and then I usually will hit the decline if I know it's going to be a scam number, and then after that I go into my call log and I click this little eye icon next to it, and then it allows me to go in and actually block that call.
I don't get a lot
And that's what I
of
tend to
calls
do.
on my cell phone, but I don't know how to block them on that.
Well, yeah. So that FCC smartphone security checker that I mentioned in that Internet Safety Security page, and I'll make certain that we get that exact URL so we can direct people there. But we're cross-referenced through the Digital Navigator page, and we have Digital Navigators on our page as well.
Digital Navigator on board. Digital Navigator, raise your hand.
Yeah.
All right, you have a Mary Palmore. She needs to give
So yeah,
assistance.
certainly we'll help you either yourself, you can figure out how to do that block, or working with a navigator, make certain of how you know how to block those calls. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure to be here today and talk a little bit about scams in general, and why you need to keep your informed of cybersecurity and securing your devices. So, yeah.
Okay, I think let's give him another round of applause.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and collect some of these.
He did an excellent job. Thank you. Yeah, I learned a lot. I didn't know a lot of those things until you explained them.
Good, I'm glad.
And Anthony may have something for you, so don't leave right away. You are, yay, good. Well, I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Drew is collecting the chips back, and you get to keep the board, right, Drew?
Well, actually,
Yeah.
you get to keep one of these Scamo games if you'd like. We'd love to leave it with you. So
So that we can play it with the other class.
you can always play it around, share that
I'm
information.
going to tell you, Drew, we have 7 more classes if you'd like to keep coming out.
Absolutely.
We definitely would have you to come at least maybe twice a year, just to say if there's anything new.
Oh,
Put us on your
We would
calendar.
love to, yeah, actually. Yep.
And,
What's the gentleman's name?
Yes.
Drew?
Uh-huh.
I think I was scammed today.
How so? By me?
Yes.
You didn't win.
I gave you the scam game mat. Yeah, that's my fault.
You didn't get nothing on your
I
card.
didn't even come close.
Oh, no.
I think I was scammed today. Do I get something because I feel like I was?
Maybe next time. Maybe next time.
We'll find something for you, Drew. Not leave empty-handed.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I just want to thank you all too for being
Yeah.
attentive and asking questions. I think this was a very good session.
Yeah, you all asked
Commended
super
to
good
your
questions.
classmates That, they need to partake in this, so.
Did you get a ride?
Very
Thank
good
you.
job.